Now, Poul Thomsen, head of the IMF's Greek mission in Athens, thank you very much indeed for joining us. So you have described Greece as having made a great deal of progress in bringing down its level of government debt. But tell me about the challenges, the risks facing Greece's economy right now.
Well, the developments so far have been good. The program is up to a very impressive start. The government set ambitious targets for itself, and it's met these targets. Developments also shows where the risks are. There are some difficulties in controlling expenditures at lower levels of government, municipalities, extra budgetary fund, the health sector. The government has so far been able to offset these shortfalls by overperformance in other areas, but we need to do better at controlling expenditures at lower levels of government, and the government is putting in place measures to do so. Secondly, clearly the government needs to ensure that the social burden of adjustment here is fair and equally distributed. So far, wage earners, pensioners have certainly done their to contribute to the success of this program. We need to do better in collecting taxes, from people with high incomes, with high wealth, and there are measures in the program to move forcefully in this area. And third and last, clearly many of the most important reforms still lie ahead. They will be challenged fiercely by vested interest, and this, of course, will be the key test of the ability to sort of move ahead in front of fierce opposition.
Absolutely, and you've said as well, Mr. Thomsen, you've said that more work is needed to justify future quarterly payments of the aid money. What exactly do they need to do? Where are they falling short?
Well, I mean, first of all, additional measures are not needed at this stage. It's all in the program as the government has signed it from the beginning. In particular, there are a number of task forces and change in regulations that now enable them to move much more forceful in enforcement of tax laws, and this is where we expect to see major progress in the coming months.
Nevertheless, analysts are disputing that. I mean, they're saying that it's going to be extremely difficult for Greece to fully meet its target to slash its budget deficit by 5.5 percentage points to 8.1% of GDP in a year when, of course, we're facing extremely weak revenue. You say yourself the government isn't collecting enough in taxes, and indeed the possibility of a double dip, if not an economic slowdown, going ahead.
Well, you know, the economic slowdown is built into the program from the beginning. We take that into account in setting the targets. And as I said, through June, they were on track to meet these targets. And we do believe that they will be able to meet the targets for both September and December. And we have discussed with them how to do that within the framework of the program. No additional measures is needed. I'm confident that they will meet targets for the year as a whole, but they need to strengthen expenditure control at lower levels of the government, and that is happening.
You don't think these targets are unrealistic?
Not at all, not at all. I'm confident that they're being met. As I said, the first important step was in June. We have seen a reduction in deficit by 40% during the first half of the year. They are well on the way to meeting these targets.
Now, they've cut civil service pay, pensions, and increased taxes as well. What else does the government need to do?
Well, you know, the program initially focused, of course, on regaining control over the budget, and more work is definitely needed on this as we go forward. But the focus of the program will now gradually shift to reforms needed to restore growth, to create employment opportunities. And here they are also up to a very good start. I will tell you that the pension reforms that we have seen are probably the most far-reaching that any countries that I know of has adopted in one go. It's a very good start. Other important reforms lie ahead that will be difficult, but you know, the way that the government has been very determined in dealing with the problems in the trucking industry makes me confident that they are going to push ahead with the reforms.
What do you make of speculation that debt will increase because state companies, hospitals and local government finances are creating a black hole in finances?
Well, you know, it's all included in the program. We know that there are deficits at lower levels of governments, in the railways and hospital, but that's all being pulled into the program. These entities are part of our program, of what we are monitoring. So when we say that the deficit will decline to 8% of GDP, well, it does take into account that there are deficits at lower level of the government, and that's why the government is overperforming so strongly at state level in order to offset deficit at lower levels of government.